Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So it is 3:30 on a hump day, trying to get over the hump. Hope everyone has had a decent day today. My day has been spent reading and learning. Sometimes when I get the show, I have to take time to actually replenish on what I know. But nevertheless, I'm here doing a few shows this evening, and I'm putting a few shows up. So this particular one, my sound looks okay. First, before I start, this one I think is a bombshell. I read this, was like, holy shit, that's amazing. That's a link. The missing link. It doesn't necessarily give evidence, but it's still a link nonetheless. First, I want to thank everyone who helps the show. You guys have been a big help. With all the demonetization and everything else, they've been attacking these videos left and right. Yesterday was like Demonetization Tuesday. Like everything I put up. I just have this thing in my head that if the country is moving itself closer to war, you should be able to say, hey, the country is moving itself closer to war. And the idea that these guys will demonetize a video for saying that is amazing. It's amazing. I mentioned before in one of my other videos that we need a union, and we need a union. We need a union. Whether you want to say a union of independent news, I would have preferred the union of just YouTubers in general. But there needs to be some kind of collective bargaining, an organization. We have a totalitarian company right now that for the most part makes all the rules for people who have careers using their particular system. It is nonsense that they should be able to make all of these rules in the way they make these rules and be able to change on a whim whether or not your company or your site can go. Each YouTube creator is, for all intents and purposes, a small business. If, let's say let's say tomorrow YouTube comes out and says, you know what, the independent media thing, we don't particularly like this, so we're just going to not monetize any of those videos. Overnight, they can make that choice. Now, think of all the people who will come to YouTube. Yes, they might see Door and other people, but for the most part, love his show and want his show to be supported, and overnight, they can nix that show. If they wanted to nix that show, they could take him off the air, or for that matter, they could just say, we're not going to monetize any of your videos, but hey, thank you for your labor. Thank you for your labor. Every video that they don't monetize is essentially them exploiting people for their labor in a way that they've already exploited people for their labor. I'm not going to bitch. All I'm saying, and I know this started off as, thank you very much for your support, and thank you very much for helping the show. You guys help the show keeps going. All right, my bitch session is over. And that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you for your help. And I mean, if somebody likes the video, shares videos, if somebody, you know, so sometimes people send me like backgrounds for the show. Sometimes people send me articles, news, all sorts of stuff. Sometimes people, you know, want to take the piss out of me, so they send me bad letters. But other time, most people have been respectful and they've been awesome. Even when they say I completely disagree with you and they explain why. Sometimes you have right-wingers who say very nice things. Sometimes you have right-wingers who don't. So, it is what it is, man. It's being a person. I guess my point is, the fact that people do that means they're engaged in the show. And the fact that they're engaged in the show means I need to say thank you. Because it allows me to do this. So, I am reading today, and I don't remember which person sent this. I don't know. I don't think it was Ben Norden. I think it was Blumenthal. Put it, I think, for Craig Murray. Now, Craig Murray is a historian, but he's also the former Uzbekistan ambassador to the Uzbekistan from the UK. I think I did one of his videos once before when he was on one of the news agencies and he was being questioned. Craig Murray noted something that's been magnificently missing from the conversation and intentionally missing. The UK suppressed information about a certain link between Skripal and what's taking place in regards to the Trump dossier, the PP dossier. Scrubbed it. Made it so the UK press couldn't talk about it at all. So any argument or any conversation that's taking place for the Skripal case had to take place with regards to that blank spot being within the middle of the conversation. The link between the two could never be established because that blank spot was done by the UK government immediately after that spy went down. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's look at Craig Murray's article. When the first thing took place, let me just say this part, and I'm going to move into it. When this first took place, when you know, a spy goes down in Britain. Now, like anybody else, I am built by my system. Like, yes, there's some aspect of me that's me. There's some workable point of view that's me. But for the most part, I am stuck within the confines of this particular system. And so my experiences and how I see the world are going to be a direct result of this particular system in some amalgamation of the aspect that's me. I'm always pushing back or accepting what my society has given me. This Russia stuff is nonsense. We've been inundated for 2 years with nonsense. There have been people who have real lives who are enduring real things, and those people have to hear mainstream media deal with nonsense. Like, I'm trying to get across the ridiculousness of what they've been saying. They've been screaming about this for 2 years. And what they've ended up with were Facebook and Twitter ads, half of which took place after the election. Now, dealing with this, you have people who are motivated in one way or the next. Some people, their paradigm of the world they like to keep fulfilled, so they like this idea of Russians having something to do with the election itself. Some people are political hacks, and so they don't necessarily care whether Russia had anything to do with it or not. They just like this idea of being able to attack Donald Trump and give blame off of the back of Hillary Clinton. The media likes it because the media likes to put asses in seats, and they love the intrigue of a president, this embattled president in the White House that they don't like, and they've thrown out all levels of objectivity. And you have other people who are just useful idiots, who need their paradigm of the world to be fulfilled. They don't understand how the most qualified woman in the history of any physical matter reality and some non-physical matter realities could lose to reality shows. They don't get it. Has to be Trump and Russia, those fucking crafty Russians, and their Facebook and Twitter ads. My point is, all sorts of people in this country are motivated to believe this nonsense. And so they believe it unflinchingly without any level of proof or need for proof. The mainstream media says it, I need to believe it, and so they just run with it off to the races. Now, it's a secondary question, however, on how much impact they believe it had in the election, with the majority of the American populations believing it, but not necessarily caring all that much about it. Nevertheless, you have a good 20-30% of Democrats who are screaming it at the top of their lungs. And off we go. New McCarthyism. Some people on Twitter comparing Russia to rats. Other people attacking Jill Stein because Jill Stein had the temerity to go to a dinner in Russia for RT. I mean, it's gotten gross and disgusting in the way, in the xenophobic way that this has been changed and tilted. And then you have Skripal. And immediately they say, it's Russia. Hey, where's the evidence? Fuck evidence. It's Russia. We know it's Russia. And then what makes it so bad? Lies about it. Boris Johnson lies about it. Outright lies about it. They have nothing to make that connection to Russia, and yet they scream at the top of their lungs that it's Russia. And I thought to myself, either both of these things are separate and distinct to the countries they're in. Either Russia is just fucking around, Russia gone wild in multiple countries, or somehow they're related. But there was no way to make the link until now. So this is Craig Murray discussing this. Probable Western responsibility for Skripal poisoning. Update. Stupidly, I had forgotten this vital information from Channel 4 News. Serial rebel Alex Thompson of the D-Notice in place of the mention for Pablo Miller. About the only decisive public move made by the authorities has been to censor mainstream media via a D-Notice last week from fully identified Mr. Skripal's MI6 handler living nearby. Hey, who's the handler for that spy? For the ex-spook that just went down? You can't talk about that. That's off the record. You can't talk about it. We don't want you to say anything about it. That's what Theresa May government decided to do right off the bat. Back then, I did not realize what I know now, that the person being protected was Pablo Miller, colleague in both MI6, then Orbis Intelligence of Christopher Steele, author of the fabrications of the Trump-Russia Golden Shower Dossier. That the government's very first act of the poisoning was to ban all media attention from Pablo Miller makes it extremely probable that the whole incident is related to the Trump dossier, and Skripal had worked on it, and as I immediately suspected. The most probable cause is that Skripal, who you should remember traded his names of Russian agents to Britain for cash, had worked on the dossier with Miller, but was threatening to expose it for cash. Those of us who've been in the belly of the beast and have worked closely with intelligence services really do know what they and the British government are capable of. They are not white knights. I would add that in the very plain, it had been being very plain from the day one that there is a D-notice on Pablo Miller. Let's see, what is this part? Original post. The comment from Clive Pointing Doyden of British Whistleblowers appeared on my website and is now giving me permission to republish it under his full name. I've been reading the blogs from some time, but this is my first post. Like Craig, I was a senior servant, but in the Ministry of Defense, not the FCO. I had plenty of dealings with the 3 intelligence agencies. It seems to me, for the reason that none of the mainstream media are doing any investigation or reporting into the Salisbury affair, apart from often handouts, is that the government has slapped a D-notice over the whole incident and it's not possible to report that a notice has been issued. That is amazing. And it is not possible to note that a report... Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. He's essentially saying, look, the government is saying, don't talk about this. You are forbidden to talk about this. And you're forbidden from even saying that I have forbidden you to talk about this. When those people are on Sky News and BBC looking like idiots, maybe they're looking like idiots because, for the most part, they're towing a line that the government has told them to tow. That is amazing! That is amazing! Hey, shut up about this Pablo stuff and shut up about the fact that I told you to shut up about this Pablo stuff. Tow our narrative. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's outrageous. Here's another theory as to what happened. The Russians pardoned Skripal and allowed him to leave the spy agencies, having an understanding that agents will be swapped after an interval. It's only protection they have that helps recruitment. In the UK, Skripal would have been thoroughly debriefed by MI16 and MI5, his ex-handler living near Salisbury. If at some point they discovered that Skripal was giving them false information, perhaps he was told to do so by the FSB as a condition of his release. Lives may have been endangered or lost. If he was also involved in the Golden Showers dossier, then elements of the United States would have reason to act as well. The whole incident was an inside job not to kill him, hence to use the use of BZ, but to give him a warning and punishment. The whole thing is being treated as though the authorities know exactly what went on, but have to cover it up. Mr. Craig Murray. There's another video here where he goes further into this, attacking some of the media and some of the stories they've come out with. But that's amazing. That's amazing. That is a big fucking deal. Like you have this clear link between these two things, and they blot it out right off the bat. We're blotting this out. Pay no attention to Pablo Miller. Well, wait a minute. Why shouldn't we pay attention to Pablo Miller? I told you pay no attention to Pablo Miller. Now, proceed with your investigations and your media analysis, but pay no attention to this very specific thing that's very important to understanding this very particular case. That's amazing. I'm not going to keep this video long. I want this video to be short and accessible. That's fucking amazing, man. That's fucking amazing. I have more videos coming up, so I'll see you guys this evening, and I'll probably see you guys in a few. Thanks, everyone.